All right, the January 6th House Select Committee released more transcripts from its investigation into the insurrection. Testimony from 19 witnesses were made public on Thursday, including former President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., and his former political advisor, Stephen Miller. It's the latest batch of transcripts released after the panel concluded its year-and-a-half-long investigation earlier this month. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins me now. Scott, thanks a sec for taking some time to talk to us here. I know it's a lot to read through, but anything stand out to you just yet?
Yeah, it's thousands of pages, Jared, and what's more, these are some key witness transcripts just released. These are witnesses who are very much inside the inner Trump circle. You mentioned a few of them: Donald Trump Jr., Trump's top aide, Stephen Miller, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, legal advisors, the D.C. mayor, the D.C. police chief. There's a lot here to go through. Let's look at the top lines. Many of the people who spoke with this committee had clips of their depositions or interviews played by the January 6th committee at public hearings. This is a little bit different. These are some of the people from whom we haven't heard yet. We didn't know what Stephen Miller said, but reading through his 200-page transcript, I can tell you he was emphatic and unequivocal of his ongoing support of President Trump, and he defended to the committee Donald Trump's White House ellipse speech January 6th and insisted Trump was forceful and resolute in not wanting anything more or anything different than peace and harmony on January 6th. Donald Trump Jr. used the phrase "I don't know" or "I don't recall" dozens of times when asked point-blank questions about January 6th and about what became of the $250 million raised by the Trump campaign after the election, but before January 20th. That's been a thread the January 6th committee has pulled a bit in public. They've raised rhetorical questions about what became of all the money raised on these baseless election claims. They asked that question point blank to Donald Trump Jr., and Jared, he did not respond.
It's a probably smart response, some would say. Can we dive a bit into the testimony from Stephanie Grisham, a former aide for First Lady Melania Trump? She claims in her testimony that there were people looking to discredit her. Could that claim lead to any sort of investigation going forward?
That's a good question. Let me just say, having read through dozens of these transcripts now, they've released more than 100. Stephanie Grisham's transcript, released a few moments ago, is far and away the most interesting. What she alleges, what she reveals. She was a top aide to First Lady Melania Trump, in addition to having been a previous White House aide. She details the falling out she had with the First Lady on January 6th, saying in the weeks or two before January 6th, the First Lady, who Stephanie Grisham said had an independent streak, seemed to fall in line with the West Wing, with the president, and these claims and questions about election fraud. And that on January 6th, before 2 p.m., Grisham says she urged Melania Trump to send out a tweet to urge for peace and peaceful protest and to avoid violence. And she says the First Lady declined to do so. Shortly after, Stephanie Grisham says she quit. What's more, she has a second-hand account that is uniquely compelling in this transcript. Stephanie Grisham says she'd heard from those inside the West Wing on January 6th that Donald Trump characterized the January 6 rioters as sloppily dressed or sloppily attired, but that he was satisfied and pleased they were fighting for him.
Scott MacFarlane, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what else you find out in those documents.
Thanks, Jared.
Come here, Mr. Llama. Oh, so close!
But I think they got him.
As COVID cases continue to climb in China, the U.S. will require all travelers from that country to show a negative COVID test or proof of a recent recovery before being allowed into the U.S. This new rule goes into effect 1 week from today. Now, the new restriction comes as China is now allowing residents to once again travel abroad. It's part of its move away from its zero COVID policies. Let's bring in Dr. William Schaffner. He's a professor of infectious diseases at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. Dr. Schaffner, appreciate your time here. China quickly ended a lot of these zero COVID policies. Hospitals are now being inundated with sick patients, and the surge is not expected to slow down in China. Is the country still making the right decision in getting rid of some of these restrictions?
Well, they've made those restrictions for better or worse, Gerard, and they've made them very, very suddenly. And that's in part why the country is not as prepared as it ought to be. But the point about the travelers is important. Now, we have a lot of COVID here. These travel testing requirements are not to keep COVID out. We're concerned about variants. You see, when there's so much multiplication of the virus in China, that raises the chance, the statistical chance that a new variant will crop up there. And unfortunately, the Chinese are not explaining this to the rest of the world. They're not giving us the genetic information about the strains there. So if a new, really bad variant showed up in China, we wouldn't know about it. One of the things we can do is test everybody who comes in to try to give us a little more time, should a variant appear, for us to respond.
You know, I mean, that leads right into my next question here. How significantly can COVID testing of travelers from China reduce the spread here in the U.S., or is it potentially too late at that point?
Yeah, it's not so much reducing the spread here. It's trying to give us an early alert about a variant. If there's a variant in China, by having this testing procedure in place so that everybody's negative who comes in, it will give us more time to prepare if a variant shows up that our vaccines don't work against. We wouldn't want that. We would want as much time as possible to create a new vaccine and to educate the public about the new danger.
Gotcha. You know, one question that I have been asking almost every doctor I've talked to over the past 2 or 3 years now, how long is COVID going to be with us in a real significant way? We're seeing hospitalizations here in the U.S., but not nearly the numbers that we saw a couple of years ago. What's the scene right now?
Well, Gerard, the scene is that COVID is here. It's not going to disappear. We're going to have to learn to cope with it. We likely will be vaccinated periodically. The vaccine will be updated the way we update our influenza vaccine. So we're going to have to live kind of in a truce with this virus. It's not just going to disappear. It's still causing around 300 deaths in the United States each and every day.
I think that's something a lot of people forget about, that this still is impacting a lot of people. Dr. William Schaffner, thank you so much.
Thank you.
On January 3rd, the 118th Congress will be sworn in. The date came into practice in 1933 with the passing of the 20th Amendment, which set January 3rd as the meeting date for Congress in an effort to update the governing schedule. With Senate Democrats retaining the majority, Republicans will have a slim margin in the House, with U.S. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's run for Speaker of the House hanging in the balance. This new class is coming off a midterm season without the red wave they anticipated. And while many far-right candidates lost their races, some did win. Former Trump aide Max Miller, who helped then-President Trump plan the rally on January 6, will represent Ohio's 7th District. Other firsts include Maxwell Frost, a Democrat from Florida, who is the first Gen Z member to join Congress. Becca Balint is also the first woman to represent Vermont and is also openly gay. Without full Democratic control in both chambers, the Biden administration could face some uphill battles, like Republican legislation and possible investigations. This Congress, both running on slim majorities, will most likely clash in the months to come.
As we head into the end of the year, dangerous storms are hitting the Pacific Northwest, knocking power out for thousands of people. The majority of these outages are in Oregon, where at least 5 people have been killed. Meteorologists refer to this weather system as an atmospheric river. The combination of warm air and tremendous amounts of moisture are expected to bring torrential rain and heavy snowfall throughout the end of this week. All right, let's bring in CBS News correspondent Carter Evans to talk about what's going on here. He's in Los Angeles. Carter, first off, what areas have been hit the hardest, and what kind of damage are we talking about here?
You know, with this particular storm, it was the Pacific Northwest, like you were talking about, areas like Oregon and Washington that got hit the hardest when this storm came ashore. It blew ashore with very high winds, damaging high winds, blew down lots of trees, damage from that. But it also happened during a time when we were having what's known as king tides, and these are very high tides, so unusually high tides. And then you have that storm coming ashore with all that wind pushing that tide in even further, and that caused a lot of flooding in some areas as well.
Sounds like a horrible combination. Did the storms catch people by surprise? I mean, how are folks preparing for what's still to come, the rain and the snow we're expecting?
You know, I think, especially down here in Southern California, we've had so little rain over the last year that it does kind of catch people by surprise when it comes in large amounts like this, because you kind of forget what it's like. It also causes other problems. You see, when you don't have a lot of rain for a while, you have soil that is very dry, and when it saturates, that can cause mudslides, landslides, things like that. And that usually happens days or sometimes weeks after the rain event. Now, we've had a lot of wildfires up and down the western part of the U.S., and that's a big concern in those areas.
It never rains in Southern California till it does. You know, speaking about this, though, there was that severe drought throughout the year. What can you tell us about how the storm might impact California's water supply?
Right. So California, as you said, in a severe drought and parts of it in an extreme drought. We've had two of these big storms right now. And you mentioned at the beginning, this is an atmospheric river. It really looks like a river when you look at the satellite image. It picks up moisture and it basically drives it right to the West Coast. This is how we get a lot of our water in California. And right now, the snowpack in the Sierra Nevada, the mountains in California, it's 162% of average. So we're doing really well. But I talked with some local water managers, and they say we need about 4 more storms, exactly like the one we had yesterday, to make a significant dent in the drought. Now, 4 sounds like a lot, but we've got them lining up right now. We're expecting another little wave to come through today, and then a bigger wave this weekend, so that'll be another one. Then if we get 3 more in the next couple of months, we'll be in pretty good shape. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. We really need these storms, but when they come through, they can be quite damaging as well.
Yeah, hopefully folks stay prepared there. All right, Carter Evans, thank you so much.